it's Noreen here with a new episode of Easter's on its way. And this will be our last episode for this year because Easter is tomorrow. I am doing my very best to get this up for you early on Saturday so that you may, if you choose to make this for your Easter dessert, may want to go to the store and get the ingredients. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to make a really easy, moist and delicious coconut cake. Now, who doesn't love a coconut cake? Now, okay, fine. You don't like coconut? Well then, you don't have to make coconut cake. It's quite alright. But I'm going to make coconut cake, and I thought I'd bring you along for the ride. So, before you scoff at me, this is as from scratch as it gets. I know how to make cake from scratch. I've done it many times. However, I cannot get the ingredients for scratch cake for 98 cents. This is nothing more than pre-measured ingredients. This is a Coconut Supreme cake mix by Duncan Hines, which is the only brand of cake mix I use. And you will never know that this cake was made from a mix by the time you're done with it. There are a few secrets, however, to making it the most delicious and moist cake you've ever eaten. So you're going to take this cake mix, and you need a packet of instant pudding that corresponds to the flavor of your cake mix. So for instance, when I make yellow cake, I just use vanilla ice, vanilla pudding mix. When I make chocolate cake, I use the chocolate fudge pudding mix. Lemon cake, lemon pudding mix, etc., etc. When I use white cake, I don't make white cake with the pudding mix, but you can, and you can just use French vanilla. And I have done that before, and it comes out quite nice. We're going to use a half a cup of oil, just plain vegetable oil, 4 eggs. We're going to use a cup of water, and that's what goes into the cake. Now, all the rest of these ingredients are going to be in the construction of the cake and in the coconut buttercream that we make. Our coconut buttercream is going to have 22 tablespoons of salted butter that's softened at room temperature, 2/3 of a cup of plain vegetable shortening. Here I have Crisco stick. I'm going to use 2 pounds of powdered sugar, which is one of these bags. We're going to use 5 tablespoons of heavy cream, 2 to 3 tablespoons of light corn syrup. Make sure you get the Caro and read the label, because not all Caro is made without high fructose corn syrup. The Caro that says it has pure vanilla in it has high fructose corn syrup in it. So make sure you read the label. We're going to use some coconut milk. I just got this in the Asian food section of my market. This is unsweetened coconut milk. Clear butter extract, which you can get at Walmart where they have the cake decorating supplies. This is not necessary, but it does really add to the flavor and intensity of the buttercream. We're also going to add a teaspoon of coconut extract, and I do not have any clear vanilla, otherwise I would use it, but I'm going to go ahead and use my vanilla bean crush in this. I'm also out of my own vanilla extract, and I have some brewing, but if you want your buttercream to be pure white and that worries you, then go ahead and get the clear vanilla, which is sold right next to this clear butter flavor in the cake decorating section of your local Walmart. I don't find that it makes that big of a difference. When you use the real vanilla, it does tinge the buttercream just a little bit, but you know, big deal. Who's going to say, no thank you, that buttercream isn't pure white? Okay, so let me move some of this stuff out of the way, because we're going to get moving on our cake. And then we'll go ahead and make the buttercream while that's baking. Now, like I said, this cake recipe is really easy. My mom, and there I go again, back to my mom, you know. My mom was a professional pastry chef. She decorated cakes for people for a living. And she did it out of our home. And this is how she always made the cakes, is with this Duncan Hines cake mix, because this does not have pudding added to it. It's my preferred cake mix brand. And they're very inexpensive. Any time of the year you can usually get these cake mixes anywhere from, like, I've seen as low as 89 cents to like $1.29. And like I said, you cannot put together your own ingredients for $1.29. Okay, now our eggs. So we've got our cake mix, And our pudding mix, instant pudding mix, and I got coconut cream pudding mix. They threw in there. 4 eggs. Get a liquid measuring cup. And when you measure liquid, for those of you who may not be familiar, you always use this kind of measuring cup to measure liquid. We're going to measure a cup of water. And it goes. We're going to measure a half a cup of oil. And you always measure dry ingredients in a dry measure. You measure wet ingredients in a liquid measure. And conversely, you don't mix the two because there can be quite a difference. And someday I'll show you that, but not right now. So we've got our half a cup of oil, a cup of water, 4 eggs, our cake mix, and our pudding mix. We're going to put this on the mixer. And we're going to put it on low to start. That squeaking is my beater blade, which scrapes the sides of the bowl. Some of you may already know about that. But until it gets going. And now we're going to turn up that mixer. And we're going to let that go for 2 minutes. And when that's ready, we'll come back. Okay, this has mixed. It's nice and silky. And if there are a few, little lumps in there, don't worry about it because this is a cake mix and you're not supposed to have it perfectly smooth. And there's coconut in there too, so. Let's see. All right, now let me grab my plastic spatula and we're gonna divide this as evenly as possible between 2 9-inch, this is 9-inch layer cake pans. We're going to make a traditional layer cake. All right, that looks about good, actually.
You leave very much to lick out.
You don't need to lick that. It has raw eggs in it. And the children aren't awake. Oh wait, I'll accept the 12-year-old. That would be Rick. I don't know if I've ever explained that to you guys. I wrote a blog about it. Okay. I have my oven preheated at 350 degrees. I have my rack set in the middle of the oven. And we're just going to put these right in there. And when you have 2 pans like this, I kind of like to offset them. Let me turn the light on. You see, I like to kind of offset them a little so they have perfect air circulation. Now, I'm going to set my timer for 25 minutes. Oh, I would set my timer for 25 minutes, but it looks like my children have absconded with my timer. So I will locate that timer, set it for 25 minutes, and I'm going to clean up my bowl. It's morning.
It's early in the morning.
It's like, yeah, it's not even 9 o'clock yet. I'm going to clean up my bowl. We're going to come back and get busy on this buttercream. So we'll be Okay, we're ready. I have washed up my bowl. And one thing I do want to tell you is if you have one of these metal bowls on your mixer, buttercream and heat do not mix. So you're going to wash your bowl with hot water. And after you get it all rinsed of soap and everything else, I want you to rinse it with cold water. Because you want this bowl to not be hot at all. Here's our butter. 22 tablespoons. This does make a lot of buttercream, okay? And then 2/3 of a cup of vegetable shortening. And I like to use these Crisco sticks because it has the measurements marked on the side like a stick of butter. And I can just cut it where it needs to be cut. And that we can just put in a plastic bag and store for another use. Okay. we're going to get this on here. And we're going to put our beater blade back on. See which way it's going now. All right. Now we're going to beat this until it's smooth and creamy. And that butter is been at room temperature for about a half an hour, but I don't think that it's pliable yet. It's not. See, it's not pliable. It's still a little too cold. But once you put this in the mixer and beat it for a while, I'm going to show you what it should look like at what point. But I'm probably going to let the camera keep going. Okay, so here we go. It's going to be noisy. And you want to beat it. You want to show it who's boss. And there will come a point where the shortening and the butter become one. It's almost there, see? It's turning creamy yellow. And they are mixing together. And that beater blade is actually scraping the sides of the bowl and incorporating that butter and that shortening together. When it stops looking clumpy and starts looking smooth, that's when you know it's time to move on to the next step. I have the mixer on 4 right now for those of you who have a KitchenAid.
For those that don't have mixers,
don't make this buttercream. You can't make this buttercream without a mixer. And I dare say, if you are in the market for a mixer, please do not buy anything but a KitchenAid. KitchenAid actually has a lifetime warranty. We're almost there. You see how it's starting to look fluffy? We want to beat that for just a few more minutes. I know you're going to think you're beating it for too long, but you're not. It's the one thing you really can't do is beat buttercream for too long. You want buttercream to be smooth. Sammy wants to know, huh? Yeah.
look at you neglected.
Okay, I think we're ready to turn this off and move to the next step. This is looking really good. You see there are a few little lumps of butter in there, but that's okay. But it's not like it was before. And the whole mixture is amalgamated and it looks smooth and creamy and starting to look fluffy. And the color has changed to a very pale yellow. That's exactly where you want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my mixer down a little, and then I'm going to turn it off. Okay, the next step. I think I have a hole in my sugar bag. Isn't that always the way it is? Okay, I have my recipe actually written down over here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a little measuring cup here, and I'm going to measure out. I'm going to just turn this on low. There we go. Boy, that is annoying when I think you're trying to listen to me. Here, I've got a teaspoon of coconut flavoring, because it's not pure. It's coconut extract. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of butter flavoring. And this is the clear butter flavoring that I talked about before. And then I'm going to use some of this vanilla bean crush. I'm going to use a teaspoon. And that is pure. You can see the vanilla bean seeds that are in there because they've crushed the vanilla beans before they blended it. You can see it in there too. All right, now this one's come over here. I'm going to stream this in here. And I'm going to turn it up. Get that mixed in there well. And then I'm gonna just lower this real quick. There we go.
On the back too.
This beater blade works very well, but sometimes at the beginning you notice that that shortening kind of has a mind of its own, so you just want to make sure that you get everything fully incorporated, because you don't want anybody to bite into a giant clump of pure shortening. That's not fun. I mean, it's not going to hurt anybody, but it's not fun. Okay, we're going to just let that go, and then what comes next is some heavy cream. And this, let's see, I need 5 tablespoons is a quarter of a cup plus 1 tablespoon. So, now I'm going to turn this up a little, and I'm going to stream this heavy cream in there. I'm not going to put all of it, I'm going to put half. Now, look at the difference of the texture now. You've added that cream, and you're beating it in there with the butter and the shortening, so it's starting to look like icing. Now, the fun part, the messy part, the sugar part. Now if I can locate where the hole in this bag is, then I'll open it. And the bag is here.
I wonder how you got a hole in it.
I'll go there. Alright. We're just going to start a little bit at a time so that you don't have a snowstorm blizzard in your kitchen. You're going to put this entire 2-pound bag of buttercream in here. And one of the reasons that I didn't powdered sugar buttercream, what am I doing? And one of the reasons we didn't put all that cream in there was so in the event, weather has a lot to do with how the buttercream turns out, just like it does when you're making bread. If it's humid outside, you're going to need less moisture. So I left out some of that heavy cream. If we feel that we need it, then we're going to come back and add it in a minute. Do not, under any circumstances, dump this entire bag of powdered sugar into that bowl and then turn the mixer on. It will be a mess. Oh, I'm sorry.
It'll be a whiteout.
It will. And you'll have powdered sugar in places you didn't know your kitchen had. And it will be all over you, too. Okay, so I've incorporated that whole bag. I'm going to turn this up a bit. I'm going to trade places with Britt, and I'm going to come in here and check the consistency.
Wow.
It doesn't need any more cream. It's perfect. But now, oh, it tastes good too.
I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. Oh my goodness. Poor deprived man.
Okay, I vouch for that.
Okay. Now we're going to continue beating this, and we're going to add one more thing. So let me grab it. Here we go. Corn syrup, 1 tablespoon. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons. And yes, I eyeballed it. I've been doing this a long time. And it says that you may add up to 5 tablespoons. The reason for the corn syrup is this is a decorator's frosting. And the corn syrup makes the frosting more manageable and more stable in the event that you are going to be piping roses or borders or what have you. But I like to add it in there because it does give the buttercream an additional smoothness, and it helps break up that the powdered sugar, and it helps it be less gritty. Now, any of you who've made a decorator's buttercream know that it can tend to be gritty if you don't beat it long enough, because the corn syrup helps too. Really. That's the 12-year-old playing with the camera. Anyway, we're going to beat this probably for a good 5 minutes, and then we'll come back. Our buttercream is finished, and I beat it for just about 5 minutes. Our cakes are just about ready to come out of the oven. I'm getting ready to test them right now. I don't know if I want to use one toothpick. I'm going to use something different. Grab my pot holders. Now that buttercream, I'm going to put it in a container and put it in the refrigerator because the cakes can't be iced yet. They're going to have to be iced later. So. Yep, they're done.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm going to let these cool. Then I'm going to turn them out onto a rack and let them cool completely. I'm going to get a rack out in just a minute. When we come back later, I'm going to show you how we put this cake together and what we do when we get ready to eat it. Be back soon.
While we were doing all that, we turned around and saw this.
Sammy brought us a present.
This is a pecan nut that Sammy brought in for us and just left it here for us.
Well,
Our neighbor has a pecan tree, and Sammy was outside and we left the door open for her. And she brought it in to share it with us.
isn't she sweet? Be back soon. Okay, we're back and we're getting ready to frost our cake. It is later this afternoon, and the cakes are cooled, and I have split them. Ooh. I split them thusly, just with a knife, running around the center there. Both layers. We're going to do a 4-layer cake.
Tell them where the holes came from.
Micah couldn't wait. Micah saw these bubbles and went, ooh, cake. And she popped them, and she tasted them, because she couldn't stand it. Because evidently my 11-year-old daughter's really too. But anyway, let's begin. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of our buttercream and I'm just going to put it on the bottom. There. I'm going to take this one because I'm going to put that top side down right there, like that. And I'm going to take my pastry brush. I have opened my can of coconut milk. And I am going to brush this thusly. Ooh, that'll work. This will moisten. This cake is going to be really lush.
Now, rich?
Yeah. So it's probably going to feed, I'd say 10 to 12 people if it's cut properly. I know that seems like a...
Where's your offset spatula?
Huh? It's too long for this. I want to use this one. I have it. It's in the sink right here.
Oh, okay.
And we're not putting a ton. And don't spread it all the way to the edge, because when we frost the outside, that'll take care of itself. Just like that. And then I'm going to take a little Angel Flake coconut and then just spread it out right there. Okay. We'll take the other. And I'm going to get me a skewer. And I'm going to poke some holes because that coconut milk is a little thick. And this is the brown side of the cake, the outside of the cake. Now, if you watch like Food Network or when I was a kid, there used to be a show on PBS called Great Chefs series, and there was Great Chefs of New Orleans and Great Chefs of the West. And incidentally, I worked my very, very, very first job when I was about 14 years old was working at the Tucson Country Club, and I did banquet setup and breakdown. And one of the ladies who was the pastry chef there kind of took me under her wing, and every Sunday morning when I would go in there and Saturday morning, we would have to be to work at 6 a.m., which is ungodly for, a 14-year-old, but we did it. And she taught me a lot of things. The best part about being a teenager and working at the country club when the pastry chef is there at work is hot, fresh, handmade croissants right out of the oven. You haven't lived until you've eaten that, because there is just something amazing about the crispy, crackly crunch of the outside of a fresh croissant that has just come out of the oven. But I digress. Don't worry about the crumbs. It's not a big deal. Little coconut. The other thing you may or may not know, I don't know if I've shared, my mother was a pastry chef as well. I think earlier I happened to mention that the whole time I was growing up, my mom made cakes for people. She did all kinds, wedding cakes, birthday cakes, you name it, my mom did it. Okay, now this is the top of the second layer. We're going to invert it upside down. We're going to brush this. Okay? And I'm just going to continue this, and I'm going to break here. I'm going to finish this layer. I'm going to put the top on, and when I come back, I'm going to start frosting this, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've started icing the sides of the cake, and you always want to start with a very generous amount, and Rick may actually want to trade places with me on this one. Since I'm right-handed, it's going to be easier for him to shoot me from that side. Let's see. Now, I don't want you to worry about the crumbs. This is not rocket science. It's an Easter dessert. I want you to enjoy making it, and I want you to enjoy eating it. And you know what? The only one person who ever walked this earth that was perfect.
And they killed him.
That's right, because he was different. In any case, just go around the sides of your cake until your frosting is the way you like it. If you like it a little bit thicker, you can do that. I've been doing this a while, so it doesn't take me that long. If you turn the plate and leave your knife at a little bit of an angle, you get a little edge on that the side there and make it smooth.
Where's your Lazy Susan?
That's a good question. I think it's in the hall closet.
But if you put this on a Lazy Susan, it makes it a whole lot easier.
It does, but this isn't bad.
Cutting board's really slippery.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those restaurant-style plastic ones, so. This is also where you want to even out your top. If you if your layers didn't come out quite so perfect.
Frosting can fix anything.
It can. It hides a multitude of sins. And you go around like that. And since I'm putting, I'm going to put coconut all over this cake. It's just not necessary to
Get it perfect.
to get it perfect, exactly. And that's why I said it doesn't matter if you've got some crumbs in that icing. Otherwise, I would do a crumb coat first and, you know, go from there. Let's see. When you taste this, you're not going to believe it came out of a box. I mean, the whole thing didn't come out of a box. We added to it, we tweaked it, and we made it our own. The cake mix, like I said before, is nothing more
It's a good start.
than pre-measured ingredients. That's right. It is an excellent start. Okay. Now, we have a lot of frosting left, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to go to waste. If you have leftover frosting and don't want to use it right away, throw it in. I would put this in a smaller container and put it in your freezer. It will stay good up to 6 months. All you have to do is take it out, thaw it on your counter for about 6 hours, and it will be perfect working consistency.
I think we should have some coconut cupcakes.
Well, that's right. It would be excellent with coconut cupcakes. All right, so I'm going to move my coconut milk out of the way. You're going to have, we didn't use that much coconut milk, as you can see. There's very little. I probably used 1/4 of a cup, honestly, among all those layers. But that just means I'm going to have to make some Thai food or something. Or a curry. Okay, now the other thing I'm going to do is with a little bit of a damp paper towel, I'm going to go along the edge of this plate. And sometimes I do take pieces of parchment and put them underneath the cake, so when I frost it I can just pull them out. But again, this isn't going to be necessary. What I am going to do though, I'm going to get this plate back out, I'm going to dry it off. I'm going to do the sides of this cake. Press that into the sides of the cake. This takes a little practice, but it's not hard. You're just really pressing it into that icing. The sides are the hardest part. And then I'm going to do something really cute on top. You'll see. That look pretty? Okay. We've got our coconut on the side of our cake. Now, the top of the cake. Let's my hands up just a little bit. Coconut in the jar. And I don't know if any of you know how to color coconut, but I'm getting ready to show you how to color coconut. This is paste food coloring, and I have that because that's what I use when I decorate cakes. But you don't need to feel like you have to use this kind. This again is available in the cake decorating section at Walmart. Don't get it on your fingers because it stains and everybody will know what you were doing. And don't get it on your counter because it stains and it doesn't come out of your clothes. You just have to keep shaking until that coconut is the color that you want it. I want it a very pale green. I want it to look like grass. And that clump in there that's really dark, you can just pull out. You don't even have to worry about it. If you shake it enough, don't say that's horrible. That thing is horrible.
It's starting to turn.
See, it is starting to turn. You can use this method to also color sanding sugar at Christmas time. Use just a tiny little bit of the food coloring. They used to make chefs culinary coloring powders that were really good for coloring sugar, but wouldn't you know it, they don't make those anymore. All right, now see, I'm going to pull some of those darker pieces out. And it won't matter.
We got a little dirt in the grass.
He knows me better than that. I'll probably sit here and pick all of those things out before we take this to my mother's house for dinner. Actually, it's not that bad. And I think that looks good. I'm just going to give this a gentle press. Hopefully that frosting hasn't crusted over too bad. It won't stick. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and kind of just decorate, because it's Easter, and what is Easter without some jelly beans? These are my favorite kind of jelly beans, favorite kind of cheap jelly beans. These are those what are they called?
I forget.
And you can, you know, if you like, put them around the edge. Make it as simple or as detailed as you like. And the only other thing I would say, this buttercream is very soft, and we put coconut milk in between those layers. I would recommend refrigerating this. And then, you know, tomorrow I'm going to take this for Easter dinner at my mom's house. But I wouldn't leave this out overnight, because it's a little bit warm, and I think that that would not be such a good idea. Oops. I think this is just adorable. And I have made cupcakes that look like this, and if you take a little pipe cleaner and make it into the handle, then it looks really cute. It makes the cupcake look like a little Easter basket. Super cute. There you have it.
Can we eat it now?
Tomorrow. You can eat it tomorrow. Coconut cake, especially for Easter. I hope you try this, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope I didn't get it up too late for you to give this a try. So until next time, happy Easter.